Tonight on Currents News, one neighborhood in Queens can't even begin to count the coronavirus toll, bringing the Hispanic community there to its knees.
A church in Jamaica, Queens is standing shoulder to shoulder with them as they weather the storm. I'm Jessica Easthope with the hardships they're facing.
And a shelter in the storm for children with no place to call home. An inside look at one place open as the rest of the world remains closed.
They don't have a home to go to. So if they weren't here, they'd be out on the streets.
New guidelines say even our pets should be social distancing. Are they playing a role in the spread? And there just may be a silver lining during this crisis. Families are gathering around the dinner table again.
The table provides an opportunity for every single person to be nourished, not just physically by the food that we eat, but also intellectually.
Plus, a stirring salute to New York's frontline heroes. The news starts right now. Good evening, I'm Christine Persichetti. The Hispanic community in Jamaica, Queens is being ravaged by the coronavirus crisis. Making it worse, many are undocumented immigrants who are hesitant to reach out for help. Currents News' Jessica Easthope has the story of a Catholic church that refuses to let the community fend for themselves.
People across the world are struggling in the midst of a global health crisis. They're dealing with obvious health concerns, plus unemployment and food insecurity. But here in New York City, one community is suffering at an alarming rate.
It's been an experience of death and loss. We've been hit very hard. Yeah, it's been a very difficult couple of months.
Coronavirus has been ravaging the Hispanic community, and those who are undocumented are uniquely disadvantaged. Father Manuel de Jesus Rodriguez has seen it firsthand as pastor of Presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary in Jamaica.
For many of our people, staying home is pretty much impossible.
According to the most recent data from the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, New York City is home to around 738,000 undocumented people. Over a third are considered low income. Across the country, a new Pew Research Center survey found 52% of low-income adults say someone in their household has experienced job or wage loss. Of the city's 1 million essential workers, half are immigrants. Father Manuel says they don't have the luxury of staying home.
Many of them, if they don't work, they don't eat. Their families don't get to eat too much.
Of his more than 3,000 parishioners, Father Manuel says at least 60% are undocumented.
Out of our known parishioners, 12 who have died.
Father Manuel has seen how drastic food insecurity has become in the growing need at the soup kitchen and food pantry his parish holds.
The numbers were 100, 150, 100. Now, yesterday, 278.
Father Manuel says before the pandemic began, there were around 30 soup kitchens in Jamaica. Now, only 3 are continuing to offer services. Christine?
Jessica, how can people get help?
You know, the city government has actually made a really important resource available. If you go to its website, nyc.gov, and search food assistance, there's an interactive map where anyone needing help can find the closest free meal to them. And as for Presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary in Jamaica, its soup kitchen is open every single Thursday, and its food pantry is open on the first and third Tuesday of every month. No registration is needed. Anyone can just come down to the church on Parsons Boulevard, and Father Manuel says they'll be helped.
All right, that's great information. Thanks, Jessica. Children without a place to call home are counting on a Catholic-run shelter to keep them safe as the coronavirus crisis turns life upside down. Currents News' Emily Drooby takes us inside the place that refuses to close despite the risks.
An unfortunate reality. On any given night in New York City, around 4,600 kids and young adults are homeless. Some running from danger, others just have no one to turn to. Many find their way to shelters and nonprofits like Covenant House, finally feeling some safety and stability. And then the pandemic hit. Many terrified that lifeline would disappear.
He said, well, we thought you'd close down. and we'd have no place to go. That's the expectation. Our young people don't expect the adults in their lives necessarily to be there for them.
Sister Nancy Downing says that's exactly why Covenant House, which helps to house and support homeless youth, didn't close down. The nonprofit is under Catholic Charities. They've made some major changes to their operations, creating quarantine rooms for the sick, screening newcomers for the virus, wearing masks, and reconfiguring their shelters to limit contact inside.
Once a week, they go out and bring them groceries and other supplies because many of our young people, unfortunately, have lost their jobs because of the virus.
Despite all of the safety precautions, COVID-19 still made it through the door. 10 kids got sick, 7 have since recovered.
And, we've had some staff who have gotten sick.
SHAKEEMA North was one of them. Like many, she was unable to get tested, but she did have coronavirus symptoms. She went back to work at Covenant House as soon as her self-quarantine ended.
Yeah, those are my kids, so.
She knows what could happen if the shelter isn't open.
You would have young people trying to make it work, right, in homes that weren't safe.
According to city data, 34% of kids are homeless because of abuse or frequent fights with a parent. The United Nations reports that domestic violence is soaring because of the pandemic. Jobs are gone, routines are messed up, kids are stuck home and isolated from others. The perfect storm. So for Covenant House, the risk and the changes needed to keep operating are worth it.
You would have young people back on the streets, right? So finding maybe a bench or a park, or which would even be limited, right? Because the parks were even closed, or sleeping on the subways.
Support is also important. Donations are being accepted online. And last Friday, they held their annual Sleep Out event, a major fundraiser, virtually. Anyone in immediate need of help can go to their shelter here at 550 10th Avenue, or you can reach out through their website. In Midtown Manhattan, Emily Drooby, Currents News.
New York City public schools are changing the way they grade some of their students. With the exception of high schoolers, students will no longer get letter grades for the remainder of this school year. Mayor Bill de Blasio announcing the change today as students are in their 7th week of remote learning. Traditional grades for elementary and middle schoolers will be replaced with an evaluation of meets standards or needs improvement. As for the Diocese of Brooklyn, Superintendent of Schools Thomas Chazuko released a statement saying academic assessment has been ongoing since the shift to online learning, and progress reports will be issued during early May. Further information regarding the grading for the 3rd trimester and end-of-year report cards will be released later in May. There's a new national team that's at work to find a COVID-19 vaccine. The National Institutes of Health and 16 pharmaceutical companies are sharing resources to quickly test new drugs. The NIH says the partnership will streamline clinical trials to rapidly respond to the coronavirus and future pandemics. And hundreds of New York City firefighters and cops are getting tested for antibodies. The goal is to get a better idea of how the virus is spreading among New York's first responders. There are concerns tonight that the U.S. food supply chain is under strain. Processing plants are shutting their doors, and farmers are saying they have too many animals with nowhere to send them. At the same time, more states are relaxing restrictions to get their economies going again. Whitney Wild has the story from Washington.
Emerging nationwide, early signs that we may someday see normalcy.
Yeah, it's nice that they're starting to open things up again.
From beaches in California,
if we can walk around outside on our street, why can't we walk around at the beach?
To barbershops in Georgia.
And I'm safe, I feel comfortable.
States across the country are relaxing restrictions little by little. But while some are taking the risk to loosen the rules, parts of the food supply chain are tightening.
I think the food supply chain is threatened in some parts of the country.
After some factories turned into coronavirus hotspots, meat processing plants in several states are shutting down or limiting production.
I was concerned about the coronavirus being in the plant, and I was scared for me and my family.
Closures are leaving farmers with nowhere to send pigs, chicken, and cattle, which could force them to euthanize millions of animals meant for the kitchen table.
Our country cannot do without this supply of food.
As officials search for ways to help plants maintain safety, fear about future production may be spreading almost as quickly as the virus itself.
We're definitely in a terrible situation of peril right now, and we're asking for help.
In Washington, Whitney Wild, Currents News.
There's new advice tonight from the CDC about handling your pets. They're recommending social distancing. Owners are being advised to keep a tight leash on their pets, staying 6 feet away from other animals and people. If you are sick, the center recommends avoiding contact with your dogs and cats. If your pet becomes sick, the feds are saying you should wear a face mask and wash your hands before interacting with the animal. The CDC is also insisting the risk of pets spreading COVID-19 is low. The warning comes as researchers believe they've identified the first case of coronavirus in a dog. In March, almost every member of the McLean family contracted the virus, including their dog Winston. The McLeans noticed something was wrong when the pug wouldn't eat. The family says Winston was only sick for a few days and now appears to be fully recovered. Here are some other headlines. China's communist government putting cameras outside the front doors of people's homes. The reported purpose is to monitor those under quarantine. There are no Chinese laws regulating the use of surveillance cameras. The U.S. National Institute of Health is investigating the lab in Wuhan, China, where the coronavirus outbreak is speculated to have emerged. The lab had received an NIH grant. JetBlue is set to become the first major U.S. airline to require passengers to wear face coverings. JetBlue says the move is about protecting everyone on board their planes. Another day has gone by and still no sighting of Kim Jong-un. The North Korean leader hasn't been seen in public since April 11th. The next day, reports first surfaced that Kim may be unwell. Multiple outlets have reported that Kim is dead or in critical condition following a heart procedure, but reports from South Korea are that Kim is alive and well. There's a lot more news headed your way. An old tradition is getting new life in these days of quarantine. Plus, we'll hear from a Brooklyn bishop who has recovered from COVID-19 and says he knows exactly how he got infected. And it's a bird, it's a plane, nope, it's a UFO. Or is it? You decide. We'll show you the video. Stay with us.
Now you can help us put your faith in the news. The next time you capture a newsworthy event, send us your pictures or video. It's easy. Go to netny.tv/send us, and you may see your submission on Currents News.
Family time with everyone gathered around the dinner table to share a meal used to be an American norm. And though our hectic lives and haphazard schedules have upended a tradition, it could be making a comeback. It's a long-lost staple of American life that has had people lamenting its demise for years. But now, dinner time in the age of coronavirus is bringing family members back to the table.
Oh, those look good.
As they shelter in place and eat in place, too.
I know which one I want. I want that one.
That includes our own Currents News work family, who shared a few moments of their sacred time with loved ones. Whether it's making pancakes the old-fashioned way or talking about their day, sharing their successes and their concerns.
Those look good.
For one producer, dinner is a group project with all hands on deck, where the kitchen table is the place to argue politics and share a glass of wine, all in good fun.
Here they come. Here they come.
What do you think?
I haven't tried anything yet, but I'm gonna.
Try.
At my own dinner table, getting 3 rambunctious kids to play along during mealtime was quite the challenge, but we were able to get a few candids.
Amen. Bless us, O Lord.
The Brooklyn Diocese's Director of Marriage and Family Formation says even if things get a bit chaotic, it's the time together that counts.
That's where we talk about the importance of what does it mean to be a family unit, and having the downtime to talk about what are our struggles, but what are our joys actually brings us even closer, especially during these tough times.
Tough times that demand our attention. Studies show that face-to-face communication helps build self-esteem, strengthen relationships, and even leads to better grades.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Christian and Helen RADA have even noticed a change with their 2-year-old son, Steven.
Steven, can you pass the salad to Daddy?
He wants to take on a role. He helps his father set the table, so he brings him the utensils and the placemats. It's actually it's really, it's very fascinating how much he's grown as a result of mealtime.
And while Zoom meals are still a necessity for many, more and more families are recapturing a beloved family tradition, all because of a very unwelcome virus, one that now has an unintended silver lining.
But I think everywhere.
Everywhere. What are we making? What are these?
TIMMERMAN.
So from our Currents News family to yours, bon appetit. Research shows that dinner time with family also promotes healthier eating habits and can lead to a decrease in risky behaviors like drug and alcohol use. Bishop Gregory Mansour is all too familiar with the virus. He had it. The Brooklyn Maronite bishop believes he got sick while helping a parishioner in need. But that's only part of the story. He joins us now to tell us more. And Bishop, you actually think you know exactly when you contracted the virus. Tell us what happened.
Well, I was helping a man who had fallen in the street, and he was coughing all over the place, and people were yelling, "Please stay away from him." So, I finally listened, and the ambulance came, but then a week later, I developed all the symptoms. So, and I had the symptoms for about 8 or 9 days, and thank God I recently had an antibody test that shows that I had COVID, and not only did I have it, but I have the antibodies. So at least I have something of a defense, and not sure defense, but so I can go forward now.
Wow.
And I have no regrets whatsoever.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I mean, if you knew that this man had the virus, would you still have helped him?
Probably. He was really in bad shape, and everybody was standing around, and so I mean, I was not even thinking of anything. It just natural instinct. But no, I don't mind. It gave me a better sense of communion with my priests and with the people. I mean, we've had so many people going through this, suffering and some deaths. Mm-hmm. So I don't regret any of it. I think God used it for His glory.
Now, tell us a little bit, what was it like fighting the virus? What were your symptoms? You said it lasted many days. How did you feel?
Yeah, the same thing that everybody's saying: night fevers, sweats, body aches, diarrhea, headaches, lethargy, no energy. So, and coming out of it, I completely lost my sense of smell and diminished my sense of taste. And but I don't have any fever or dysentery or body chills, but still have some of the fatigue. And that's normal for everybody who's gone through it.
So how long has it been since you were really sick?
So March 23rd, and just about 2 weeks now, recently, I have not had any strong symptoms.
Wow.
So it lasted about 3 weeks, and then about 2 weeks of no symptoms, and that's when I had the antibody test just 2 days ago.
Wow, well, I'm glad to hear that you're feeling better. Can you tell us, how does this whole experience affecting your faith?
Oh my gosh, it's just, when you're by yourself, you really take the time sincerely to look at your relationship with God and your own behavior, your own thoughts, your own emotional life, and to align everything in your life a little bit closer to God's will. And that's what it helped me to do. I'm very grateful, as you can tell. I'm very grateful to have gone through that. And I'm grateful to all those people who are on the front lines, the doctors, nurses, hospital, nursing home people, even the people who work in retail and pharmacy and grocery and all the first responders. I'm so grateful for them, for laying down their lives for others and for myself as well.
All right, Maronite Bishop Gregory Mansour, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
The Pope is asking everyone to obey coronavirus mass restrictions. Francis began his daily mass Tuesday, praying for phase 2 of Italy's gradual reopening of the country after 2 months of lockdown. Italian bishops recently spoke out, angry about the plan to keep churches closed for the time being. Federal courts across the United States are looking at reopening plans. There will soon be more court filings, and some non-vulnerable employees will be allowed to return to the workplace. Then courts, jury rooms, and cafeterias will reopen with 6-foot distancing restrictions. In other news, the Pentagon is releasing 3 videos that the brass claims show unidentified aerial phenomena.
Look at that thing, dude.
The videos were recorded on the infrared cameras of military aircraft. The pilots were amazed at how fast the objects moved. The Pentagon is not calling them UFOs. So what does the church say about life outside our world? There's no official teaching, but as early as the 14th century, French priest and philosopher John Buridan wrote that because of our faith, we can believe that God could make other worlds. The Vatican's former chief astronomer, Father Jose Funes, said Christians should consider any alien life as an extraterrestrial brother and part of God's creation. The current chief, Father Guy Consolmagno, hasn't discussed UFOs or alien life. Still to come on Currents News, many had their eyes to the sky this afternoon. We'll tell you why the Blue Angels put on a show and
God Bless America is really a prayer.
Why this man turned his front porch into a stage. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. It's not the bat signal, but it is a message for our real-life heroes. Blue Angel and Thunderbird jets took to the skies over New York City earlier today. The coordinated flyover by the Navy and Air Force was meant to honor those on the front lines of the pandemic, the first responders. The team also flew over New Jersey and Philadelphia. And finally tonight, the patriotism isn't just in the air, it's in the streets, as a man in Michigan steps out onto his front porch every day to thank God and his country. Donovan Long has that story.
God bless America.
It's a tune that underscores David Young's love for his country and his neighbors.
God Bless America is really a prayer.
David's been singing that prayer from his front porch in Otsego for more than a month.
I just thought it would be a way of praying over the neighborhood, of bringing people together.
With no music and no choir, he succeeded, using only his baritone voice to bring harmony to his listeners.
I love it. When I see that flag, too, that blesses me. It makes me... Anyway, yeah, I love it.
It's a comfort. You know, you hear it and you know that your neighbors are out and they're okay.
David says he'll keep singing until Governor Whitmer lifts her stay home, stay safe order.
I love to inspire people.
Until then, he'll be a familiar voice in an uncertain time.
That was Donovan Long reporting. David says he sings the national anthem twice a day in the afternoon and evening. He says he does it to spread joy. And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Good night and God bless.